Mitchell Gardens in Durban. Nice safe place for a walk. It's like a Sunday afternoon. Tons of people out. Check this tree out. The bark has little spikes all over it. These guys are trying to sell, I don't know what they are, little mobiles. Yeah, they just won't give up on this
$2.
idea.
It's very cheap for this.
Is it $2? 20 Rand they want for this mobile. It's not what we want. Look at the spikes on this thing. That's unusual. Of course, another epiphyte. The place is full of the epiphytes. People pay a lot of money for these in Canada. These are Australian tree ferns up here. Various South African plants. It's quite jungle-like here in Natal. As soon as you start going into the interior, completely different matter. So we've just been warned, my aunt has got her bag exposed, and apparently there's a bunch of people buzzing around from the squatter camp. They make a practice of stealing handbags, so there's her bag right there. We're over there. It's packed away now, it's right there. And people buzzing around waiting to steal. Everywhere you go in South Africa, if you want to park your car and keep it safe, you got to pay the car guy. 5 Rand basically for looking after our car. That's him. I'm told Barbara speaks to car people, and I'm going to ask her about that in a bit. Every house has its electric fence around the top or razor wire, but just a beautiful kind of picture though. I'm not sure what this tree is called. All of the street names have been renamed over the last 20 or so years. Can't read that really. And we're just above Durban. There's the city of Durban down there. Kind of a no-go area, I'm told, to some extent. Stealing at the restaurant here. It's an ibis, party to ibis. This is the Durban Botanical Gardens. There, of course, we've got the famous jacaranda, beautiful purple blooms. It's there at Pretoria, main city, up in the hills. And I'm just waiting while the tea's being ordered. Come on. So here I am at my aunt's place on, I won't say exactly where, but it's in Durban North, and it's starting to get to the evening. Basically up from the river, down behind the Untitled River, you have groups of squatters coming up and basically rampaging through the neighborhoods, hence the reason there's so much high security. Pretty well every house in this block has had some major crime perpetrated against it. Dad? Just for a second. Yeah, okay, there's a story to go with this white house here that's quite disturbing and yet interesting at the same time. Barbara, what happened here? What was the situation with this white house? I remember you said you came down and they told you to go back. It was in the middle of a gunfight, was it not?
I heard gun shooting and I wondered what it was, and so I said to my gardener, look after the garden, I want to go around the corner and see what's going on. And I came around the corner, and when I got to the end of the block...
Is that right here, this spot?
Yes.
Okay.
When I turned the corner, there was locked as well. So I went under
the barrier?
Yes, and then up the road to see what was going on. And there were police lying all around where you would never sit, like in this bush here.
Yeah, the police were laying all over the place, and you were wandering in the middle of this, yeah?
And I said, well, what is going on here? And they said, we've had a warning. that there's going to be a very big attack on number 12. What is it? Whatever the...
That one there, yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to get inside, and it's the people who live inside are all old ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all terribly nervous. And
so you hadn't heard the gunfire yet? It erupted shortly after.
no, I sent my gardener out because I heard the guns going.
Oh, okay. So it was done with.
I heard the guns going off, and I went further up, and I saw they were on the front lawn of one of the houses, and they'd shot one of the men. They'd shot one of the men in the leg rather badly, and then the real shooting started, and there was a lot of guns going off, but no cars. And then
so they'd blocked the road off on either end, so cars couldn't slide in.
No, the roads were yes, on either
so they
end.
kind of
And then they started telling them surrender, and then the other side started shooting. So the police said, we'll shoot. Now my words aren't exact because it was more than a year ago. And they said, we're going to shoot to kill, because that's the only way we're going to protect those ladies. And they said, we don't want to see any private person in this area. Get away immediately.
So they told you to leave.
Yeah.
And that's when the big thing happened.
Yes.
So these gentlemen, Juliet was saying that they turned up looking like gardeners. They were all dressed as gardeners in a truck. And the last thing she said is I think she saw part of it, and they were just throwing all their bodies onto the truck after the fact. There were 6 of them that they killed, and 2 policemen were injured.
Two policemen were injured in the legs.
Wow.
And all the others, very few policemen were injured.
2, they said.
Yes.
Very interesting. Thank you. Okay, so this is the Umgani running through Durban. I actually stopped to look at the cliffs. I'm always interested in the rock of the area. Obviously it's saying don't swim here because of the crocodiles. Comes out at a beautiful estuary down at the bottom. Mangroves. Hope to take a visit down there maybe later today or tomorrow or something. It's running right through the city. I didn't realize they had cliffs here. But obviously when I saw the cliffs, kind of intrigued me. And of course, any time you're in this sort of area, you got to be careful of squatters and, you know, homeless people. Not their fault, but this is where they live, and they'll take your wallet as quick as they can, and knife you as quick as they can as well. I have a squatter's place underneath the bridge there. Imagine the kind of place you'd expect to see the crocodiles living. Dad points out the river comes down under heavy flood, but usually it's the rivers a little further to the north. Tugela is really where you're going to get the crocodiles. Just a horrible stench. This is where the squatters live in part, just off on the edge here. This is called, I think it's called Umgani Road or Umgani Drive, and they live in this sort of mangrove, quickly fades into mangrove. So this is where they kind of stay at night, or at least they emerge from at night. Horrible smell, human waste, garbage, the works. And that's kind of a neat estuary over there, but I don't think it's worth going through the bush to get there. There we go. It's a house up here in Durban North. Usually got a standing sentry up there. Yep, coming. There's the big shootout place right down there.
They all dress up and all that, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, anybody's taking a risk walking down this road. I mean, for Durban North, this is you know, there's a huge amount of Muslim people who've moved in here. That grey house, actually, yeah, that grey house is owned by Muslims, and the mosque is just down the way. I'll probably get some video on the mosque in a minute here. The Sufi mosque. So I'm sitting here at Barbara's house on the front step, which is not a normal thing to do considering she doesn't have an electric fence. On the bright side, we found some alternate accommodation for her, but I mean, again, one of the neighbors, just an interesting thing here, one of the neighbors just gave me a newspaper cutting which I probably would like to just kind of review ever so briefly. And it says 9 in 10 South Africans fear falling victim to crime, and it's dated tomorrow, Friday 27th of September 2013. So I'm not sure how that happened, but anyway, it says here that more than 94% of all of the people that were surveyed in this particular survey had, it said they were extremely afraid of falling victim to crime. Now this whole article is based on the idea of perception, and it uses the word perception because that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a fact, it's just how people see things. And it says here, are extremely afraid of falling victim to crime, which is further fueled by South Africa's already high rates of anxiety and depression. And it says people in South Africa are twice as likely to be subject to depression and anxiety than people in United Kingdom or United States, or Canada for that matter. With serious and violent crime currently at a 10-year high, with increases in murder, attempted murder, and car hijacking, street robbery, and house robbery, it's further fueling these perceptions and insecurities. So I mean, it's so bad that people have warned us in this neighborhood, don't even drive out backwards out of the driveway. You go forwards and you get out quickly, and you should have an automatic gate closer, which we don't have. And then the people next door actually even, they actually saw a pair of hands trying to lift their gate right off the actual railing at one time so that people could break into the house. So further it says here, another study conducted by Gallup in 2012 cites South Africa as the least likely out of 134 countries worldwide for residents to feel safe while walking at night. I'm surprised it's as low as that, because who would feel safe at all? It's insane. I mean, you can barely walk around here in the daytime, let alone at night. And for the core of the city, you need to be able to read the scene in the streets in order to in any way go down there. People even advise us against driving down in the core of the city, that is Durban. It says here, Fush, whoever that was, points out that the fear of crime has an incredibly corrosive effect on individuals and entire communities. Freedom from fear of crime is vital not just for economic welfare, but more importantly for the well-being of the public. People not only need to be safe, but they also need to feel safe. And it says that community policing is probably the best thing. And I know there's always a very strong sense of community here in this neighborhood, I should say, where all of the neighbors have looked after my aunt, for which we're very grateful. Everybody's come to visit her on a regular basis, knowing that the security was not good. And of course, by the time you see this video, she'll no longer be living at this house, and whoever owns the house will have an electric fence across the top here, at least an electric fence. Most houses are protected by electric fences, coils of razor wire, sharp spikes, security guards, cameras, and what have you. The place just across the road it is protected like an absolute fortress. The place 2 houses over. Wow, you should see it. In fact, I've got some videos, so you'll probably see it while I'm putting together my little clip. You just can't see the security guard right now, but he's there. So this neighborhood is pretty well fortified. So gratitude to the neighbors for looking after so well. Looks like everyone has their own security company. Blue Security seems to be a common one. They're fast, they're first, they're for you. There we go, armed response. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Hello. Just want to say, if you see a sign like this in Canada, you take it with a pinch of salt. But when you see it in South Africa, you know they absolutely mean it. Nothing inside is worth dying for. There we are, they mean it.